When someone breaks into your home, why is the law more concerned with the intruder's welfare and protections than the actual homeowner? It doesn't make sense to me. Today we're going to be looking at something called Castle Law, or in America it's called Castle Doctrine, and it's not legal in Australia. This is kind of the amount of force you can use to protect yourself and your family and your home, in your home, in the event of a break-in. This one's from Orange, it's regional New South Wales for those people overseas. It's quite alarming, and keep an ear right for the end of the video for the age of these kids that are actually perpetrating this crime.
Police have spoken to almost half a dozen young people, with one aged just 10.
Last Saturday morning, a group of 5 people smashed the glass doors of this cafe, the Smoko Shed on Elsham Avenue, along with other stores. Then yesterday morning, we saw multiple businesses again broken into, masked intruders breaking windows and stealing cash. Police have since charged a 17-year-old and a 12-year-old who have both been granted conditional bail. A 15-year-old boy has also been charged and faced court earlier today. A further 2 boys aged 13 and 10 have been issued a youth cautions notice.
So the last two in that sentence, a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, were giving a caution notice. So they're basically released back to their parents with a, hey, don't do it again. To me, I don't find that acceptable. I really think that we should be holding the parents to account. And yes, it's easy for me to say, but there needs to be some sort of mechanism or some sort of system in place, which there may be, but obviously from these news reports, and I can tell you now, they are plentiful. There's no shortage of these kind of things. That it doesn't seem to be happening. You know, something happens, a minor may be involved, and for the most part, all these kids are minors. They get released back to their parents, and the next night they're doing it again, which is just insane to me. We should be holding these parents to account.
Gang of youths storming a home in Pakenham, machetes, baseball bats, firearms used. In one stage, the guy with the machete accidentally hits his mate with a baseball bat. What makes all of this a lot worse is that a young, innocent family are inside, including 2 young children. And this was a case of mistaken identity. This gang got the wrong house. This crime spree has spanned from the southeast to the northern suburbs, and they have posted and boasted about their crimes online.
So they're posting and boasting about their crimes online, but they're trying to break into a house with a young family and 2 young kids. But realistically, you know, if they had got in, these kids or these people that are perpetrating the crime, I'm quite hesitant to call them kids, because if they're doing things like this at that age with that velocity of violence, and I'm sorry, I can't I can't walk that back, because it's just insane that this kind of level of violence and kind of those different things are spewing out into the streets, which is, you know, collecting innocent people all left, right and centre. However, I was reading a news article a little bit earlier regarding a incident that happened, I think it was in 2024, but generally what happened is this group of 4 or 5 people broke into this house in Melbourne. This lady was pregnant, heavily pregnant at the time. She was sleeping, she woke up and was hit in the leg with an axe from one of the intruders. She crawled into the corner of the house and was telling them that she was pregnant. She screamed, and apparently her partner was asleep in the backyard. I'm not too sure of the circumstances of that. He came in and quickly ascertained that one of the intruders had a gun. He kind of wrestled that gun off the intruders, fired 5 shots, and one of the intruders was shot. He crawled out of the house and unfortunately died on the footpath. And the takeaway from this story is that the government went after that homeowner for murder. To me, that doesn't make sense. Like, I always thought murder had to be premeditated. This is the kind of insanity that we're facing in Australia. In America, they are able to protect themselves to a certain extent. In some states, they're actually able to use lethal force. And as I was alluding to a little bit earlier in the video, is my trusty entrenching tool. We actually built in a brand new estate in New South Wales many years ago. My kids were really young at the time. So my wife was actually deployed overseas to the Middle East at the time on active service. And there would have been probably about 50 or 60 houses in this entire state. It was a very brand new estate. And what was happening is we were getting broken into, not me personally, but houses around the street were getting broken into every night. People were coming with masks, stealing stuff when people were asleep and getting out. Sometimes they were basically harassing them, turning the lights on and freaking people out in the house before they were leaving. But the long story short is that we actually created a pseudo vigilante gang, which sounds a little bit crazy. So we were doing patrols of the street, trying to find these perpetrators and all these different things. As it so happened, I actually lived next to a lawyer at the time, and his friend was a policeman. And the advice that I was given, and this is not legal advice, so don't take it that way, is just things that I was told over the course of the year is that if someone breaks into your house, do not let them be found on your property because they have legal rights in the sense that they could sue you, or you could be charged for. I'm not necessarily a violent person, but like I was saying, my eldest and my second eldest were 5 and 3 at the time. I had them sleeping in my bed in the back of the house. I was sleeping in front of the sliding door just outside that room in a sleeping bag with my entrenching tool laying on my chest to take a swipe at anyone came through that door. I was absolutely terrified. The whole street was terrified. The whole estate was terrified of these people coming through, and the police wasn't helping us. We went to our local representatives of government. They didn't do anything. And at the point, and this is the kind of things that were happening. The house behind me, her husband was at work at the time. She was in the bathroom putting makeup on. She looked through the mirror because they didn't have blinds on their windows at the time, and someone was trying to break in as she was putting on makeup, which absolutely terrified her. These are the kind of things that were happening on a regular occurrence, and these are the kind of things I think this Castle Law or Castle Law Doctrine should be bringing in to protect homeowners and protect people who are actually wanting to look after their properties and their assets and all these different things. It just find it really crazy from that perspective. And before we finish up today's video, I do want to kind of throw back to a little bit of a thing that happened in Canberra over the last couple of days. So I was driving my son home from KFC where he works. And what happened was that all these cop cars, all these police cars started coming from everywhere. So we had unmarked police cars, we had police motorbikes, and we had police patrol cars coming everywhere with lights and sirens and screaming and carrying on. I'm driving through a roundabout, then a car sped up that way to the left, which you can't see my hand, but left. 2 police cars went after it. And I made the mistake of telling my wife after the fact. So I'm going to let you know as well. I went after the police cars because my son's learning to drive, and I was showing him quite stupidly, these kind of scenarios and how to handle them. So like the cops were doing probably about 100 kilometers in a 50 zone. I was, carrying on about 50 kilometers an hour behind them, all those different things. Then all of a sudden, this stolen car did a U-turn at the roundabout and started speeding towards me in my lane. So I pulled off the side of the road. The cops flew past and all those different things. So I told my wife when I got home, got in trouble for stupidity. But hey, when you have ADHD, that's just how things roll. But when I was looking on it, and I will show you some posts on Reddit now, is that someone's car got stolen. So they broke into his house when he was asleep. They stole the keys, they stole the car. They do think, and don't think this has been substantiated yet, I haven't seen any news about this, but there was a double homicide in the area that potentially linked to this car. So I have heard stories that the homicide is directly linked to this car, and I've also heard stories of this, just a bunch of teenagers stole this car for a joyride. So once I find out some more, I will update you on the community post. So maybe subscribe. We can fill you in for that way. But what was happening is that it's just insane. Like I said, is that there is no law to protect the common people. There is no law for homeowners to exert a reasonable amount of force to neutralise a threat. I can tell you right now, I would rather go to jail for doing something, untoward, an intruder, than having my kids or my family being hurt over a long period of time. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm quite passionate about this. I do think we do need some sort of castle law or castle doctrine. There are some political parties within different states of Australia that are looking at castle law, and I think this is why people personally are moving away from the major parties and more looking towards these minor parties such as the Katter Party and the One Nation Party, regardless of what you think about them, because they are wanting to bring in these laws that protect homeowners against the intruders. Thoughts? like I said before, the more you dig into these things, the less it makes sense. We'll catch you next time.